so much for your time and for joining us today. What we want to do today, first of all, my name is Lisa Gallagher. I lead campus recruiting for operations for Barclays in the United States. We would like to give you information just about what Barclays is, what we do, and some of the opportunities that will be available to you at Barclays. Just by show of hands, how many sophomores do we have in the room? I want to know who I'm talking to. How many juniors? Seniors? How many people are coming to Barclays this summer? Just two? Okay, great. All right, so let's just kick it off. If we can go to the next slide. So our entire purpose at Barclays is to create opportunities for others to rise. By others, we mean our teammates, so our colleagues, our surrounding community. And we take this purpose very seriously. And as such, we've built these values as a framework to reach that goal. We have 5 values: respect, integrity, service, respect, integrity, service, excellence, stewardship. I couldn't remember which one's stewardship. Okay. Of these 5, I would say we probably take stewardship the most seriously at Barclays. And what that means to us is just generally leaving things better than you found them. And you'll see that everywhere at Barclays. When we talk about these values, and as you go through other presentations with other employers, every firm has values. I've been in financial consulting or financial services for my entire career. Every firm I've ever been at has had values. I have never seen them lived the way they're lived at Barclays, and I've been at Barclays for 1 year. I came to build out the ops program, and I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know, it never did. To give you an example, just of stewardship, if you come in as an intern, as a graduate, all of us, and we're looking at a process, and we know we have some ideas that we want to pitch. We feel like we can make it better. Everybody's open to that. Everybody wants to hear you. People who aren't on your team will stretch out to help you. Everybody's willing to teach. It's just an incredible culture. I want to touch very quickly on Whippany specifically. Michael and I and Ram will all be working out of Whippany. Whippany is what we call a strategic site for Barclays. And the reason that is because when you walk into the Whippany campus, I suggest if you can, go online, go to our Facebook page, look at the video, you think you're at a fintech. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. As a matter of fact, it sold me. I was not going to interview for Barclays. I got a call from a colleague from a previous firm that said, come work at Barclays. I've been doing startup work. So I was wearing jeans, I had like a pink streak in my hair, not corporate at all. And she said Barclays, and I said, I was like, I don't want to work for an investment bank, I just got out of that. She said, please just come and look. Come and talk to people. So I did, and we got to the final interview, and that was at Whippany. I walked into the lobby, I couldn't hear myself, there was a DJ spinning. I passed an arcade room, people throwing darts, air hockey, basketball, ping pong, everything. In the middle of the day, and I'm waiting for the woman to come and pick me up, and I get hit on the back of the head with a ping pong ball. And I turn around, and I just in that moment thought, I want to work here. So we do all of that, the dry cleaning, pickup, all the things that you're going to find in a fintech, but here's the difference. And I have 2 people here to keep me honest, right? We're not offering these things to keep you there till all hours of the night. We're offering these things to you because we understand that when you find talent that's both analytical and creative, you better get creative about how you keep them engaged. And we find the way to do that is to play. We play together. We stop in the middle of a frustrating project and we go play games. We come back, it doesn't look that hard anymore. It works. The other reason we do it is because we are very focused right now on diversification. Really what we're looking for is diversification of thought. So what does that mean? That means that we want to build an environment, we have built an environment, where you can come to work and not compromise yourself as you walk through the door. I have tattoos everywhere. I used to cover them in old corporate. I don't have to at Barclays. I had an intern come up to me the first day, And I noticed during the inside track, she had a nose ring. The second day, there was no nose ring for the interview. I said, what are you doing? She said, I was nervous about wearing it. I said, You come 100%, you don't compromise yourself. When you have a team full of people who are from different backgrounds, different places, different thoughts, and they feel like they're coming and they don't have to compromise themselves, you would not believe the product as a result. Your own personal growth, just being a part of a team like that, is exponential. So I really wanted to touch on that. I think that's really important to young people coming into the workforce right now, particularly within the finance industry. Don't look for the work you want to do. Look for the culture you think you can thrive in, and then find the work within that culture, because you're all absolutely smart enough to do that. So I wanted to mention that. Next slide.
Do you think I can mention Worcester Fest really quick?
Yeah, please.
So this is one thing that I was absolutely shocked by. So we have a Christmas party at the Whippany campus. The whole campus is invited, the whole site, all the strategic leaders, I guess you would call it, so the MDs, the executives, they all show up too. I don't know how much they spent on it, but they had literally, it was DJs set up. I mean, as much food as you could eat, you could get drinks there. I mean, this was like some huge party. Like, I mean, they had fireworks afterwards. I mean, this was like really neat. I was not expecting it. So this is another thing I think you guys should think about in terms of where you're gonna look to work upon graduation. Look for the culture where you think you can fit best in with the team and the expectations that the company sets forward.
Absolutely, and I want to just mention one more thing that I think is really important. It's kind of unique to operations and the way we evaluate candidates. I do not provide interviewers your resumes. They don't see your resumes until after you've been hired, and here's why. We don't want you to be evaluated on what school you went to,
Yep.
what neighborhood you're from. Don't care. We don't even care what you've done. Don't care about job experience. All we care about is what you're capable of. We're 110%, we can coach you up to what you need to be once you come through the door. What that means is our evaluation is built, designed specifically to pull out your potential and your strengths. And the only thing our interviewers and ops care about is your authenticity. So I thought I'd mention that, and if anybody, I'll give you my contact information before I leave, but if anyone wants to have an additional conversation about that or further want me to just kind of expand on that, I'm happy to do so. Just wanted to mention that because I think it's really unique. They don't even know what school you go to while they're interviewing you.
Yeah, great.
So again, this is basically just an overview of Barclays. Sometimes I look at this slide and I'm just floored by the fact that I work for a company that's older than the country I was born in. I'm also floored by the fact that we have over 83,000 employees. On any given day, I mean, don't get me wrong, scheduling is a nightmare between US, UK, and like, you know, Chennai or Pune and India.
Nevada.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy. But it's your exposure is so broad to so many cultures and so many different ways of working. It's just amazing. Again, you can look up our banking teams, our marketing teams, our research teams, all putting out great white papers, doing incredible trades with over 4,000 clients. It's just a big, big firm. However, we do have the flexibility of almost like a fintech startup.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a 300-plus-year-old investment bank at all. And I'm not just talking about the physical environment. I'm talking about the way in which people pixelate their experience. So in other words, in many firms, you will go, you will be in your specialty, you will be a finance manager, whatever have you, and you may have the opportunity to move vertically. It's a linear career path that you're taking. You sit in your, and it's not a bad path, it's just a different path. When you pixelate that, you start to look for opportunities that are lateral, but outside of your specialty. You become less of a specialist, more of a generalist. And the thing that I like about that, and we encourage that at Barclays, is that many of the leaders that I know, that I'm mentored by, spent time in each piece of business. didn't just sit in one place.
Right.
So at Barclays, we actually have the means, we have senior buy-in for our mobile program. So you're an intern, we convert interns to graduates if they perform well, and we had a 97% conversion rate last year. And then you go into the graduate program, you have the opportunity to rotate to other groups, and then when you leave the graduate program, you're given a full-time job, but now you can access the mobility program. And that allows you to move anywhere you want. You don't have to inform your manager first. You don't need your manager's buy-in. We're all developed and trained to just embrace and really encourage people to do that. So it's very much like a smaller firm in that way. You don't have to take my word for it. You can look all this stuff up, but I think probably the most important blurb up there is the one about Universum and students selecting us as the world's most attractive employer globally. We're super excited about that. The rest you can look up if you like. So I want to talk a little bit about this slide. The area that we're talking about, that we're focusing on, is group functions. So all of these things that come under group functions. This is the heartbeat of the bank. Nothing happens at Barclays without this group. This group makes sure that we are constantly iterating and improving. The one thing at Barclays that we really look for is your ability to continue to innovate and iterate. We always want to make it better. And if you look at the groups under group functions, that responsibility largely falls within that group. These other groups, so from corporate and investment all the way to research, let me just make sure, credit, equity, macro, yes. They take a different approach to recruiting. So in group functions, we're university agnostic, we're degree agnostic. We don't care what your degree is, we don't care where you went to school. In the front-facing office, they do, and they partner with specific schools. If you are interested in any of these groups, just approach me separately. You'll have my contact information. But I just want to mention that they normally recruit out of their target schools. So I just wanted to call that out.
Just from my own experience working, I would really focus on the group functions, specifically ops, because you understand the business. So if you understand what we do on a day-to-day basis, you're trained to be a leader, a manager, and a director for the company. Because if you just stay within research, right, you're just doing, or markets, you're just doing one trade process, right? You don't understand the holistic process of the bank. So if you're in ops, like we're talking about, you have a high potential for growth, not only in this division, but within the bank. So it's a very good spot, exactly.
Yeah.
It's extremely, extremely important.
Perfect, all right, and I think with that, I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Michael Warg. Michael is part of the first ever grad cohort that we have for operations in Whitney. Michael started in July, late July of last year.
Yep.
And he's also an FDU alumni, so I'm just gonna pass it off to Michael.
Yep. So a little bit of background, I graduated last year. Obviously, I was a finance major, wealth management minor. I was involved in the men's lacrosse team, so I did that for 4 years, and now I'm here. But a little bit of background on my role. Obviously in operations, I work within our process transformation and strategy team. So really what we do is that I go across the different lines of business, so our credit decisioning operations, our KYC, our fraud.
What is KYC?
Know your client.
Thank you.
So it's like name mismatches, validating addresses, things of that nature that our agents do, so our call centers, we work a lot with them. And I go in and say, hey, this process is highly manual, we're going to install robotics or RPA or automation around it in order to help the business cut costs and create shareholder wealth. So it's more of an internal consulting to help managing directors meet their cost-cutting objectives. So that's kind of what I do. So let's kind of get started on these other slides. Yeah, what's up?
Where does the accounting and tax lie? Is that lie in finance?
We have tax and ops.
You would have to ask her. I'm not really familiar with what we do there.
So we do, it would lie in finance, not public finance. under functions.
Oh,
And it would lie within operations, we have tax ops. But again, it also lies in all three of these, right? Yeah, the public, I just think that coming from a non-target school for them, you'd wanna do some prep work first, you'd wanna talk to me. You don't wanna just go and apply for these
It's
three.
highly competitive,
Very high.
extremely,
I mean, all of it is, but this is
ultra.
insanely competitive. So don't just hit apply, because once you do that, you can't apply to any other position. So that's okay, just talk to me, and we'll go from there.
Any other questions, or can we keep moving? You guys have anything in Metro? You guys good? No? Sure. Okay, great. Alright, so these are some of our opportunities, kind of like what Lisa and I talked about before. I would really focus on, correct me if I'm wrong, finance, HR, internal audit, market risk ops, and then tech. So
Yeah, compliance,
and compliance.
get human resources.
Yeah, I forgot HR. Okay, so thank you. So I'll talk a little bit about ops just because I am kind of more involved in that. So I work on our cards side of the business. It's realistically only US based. We partner with companies like American Airlines, Carnival, Frontier, Uber, all these different businesses, and we have them brand our credit cards. So we don't have a big presence in the US. No one knows what Barclays is, Barclays Bank. You know, you're not gonna go out and buy a Barclays credit card. We don't have a big brand awareness here. We don't have debit cards, we don't have branches. So we use these partners to establish clients and customers and use their brand to bring them in. And that's kind of what the business I work in. Tech, we have a lot of graduates. I think there's like 60 in this class, right now?
Probably round about.
Yeah, so they're doing infrastructure, full stack developing, migrating databases from one app to the other. I'm not fully sure.
I just wanna call out real quick with our
Yeah.
technology, there are two tracks with technology. One is the developer track, one is the non-developer track. So if you're not as technical,
Yeah.
as Mike has explained, there's another track for you in technology.
I don't know, if you wanna talk about some of the market risk, and I'm not as familiar with some
No,
of this
I
stuff.
think
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll go into just very quickly the actual program. So I'll talk about
Yeah.
the intern program first, and then you can explain the graduate
Yeah,
program.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so the intern program is a 10-week program. We start probably the first week of June, we conclude before the grad's on board, so probably the first week of August. We provide orientation for a couple of days where you kind of learn an overview of Barclays, but we also give you financial markets training. You'll be getting financial markets training, soft skills training, that's all off-site. You're assigned a senior and junior mentor and a line manager. We start you off at the beginning of the summer with objectives. We give you objectives. You come up with objectives. There are almost weekly learning events. And then you are evaluated in the middle of the summer, and then again at the end of the summer. The middle of the summer is really a touch point to say, hey, let's bridge these gaps, because our goal at the end of the summer is to give you a full-time offer. If we can fill our entire full-time class with interns, we've done well. So that's kind of the intern program in a nutshell. Do you want to cover off on the grad?
Yeah, so the grad we started last year in late July. We had I don't know if it was 2 or 3 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks of off-site training. So we were at the Hyatt in Morristown, doing everything from learning about trades, the business, the values. They brought in all these different consulting firms from all over the world. I know people flew in from like Germany to come and present to us. So they definitely didn't go cheap on it, I'll tell you that much. It was very instructive and well thought out. A great way to network also with the other graduates, because you haven't met anyone before, and there's about 80 of us. So it was excellent to do that. I got brought into my role mid-August, met my manager, and right away he was drilling me with work. I mean, we were just getting after it, meeting all the other department leads within cards, and he was getting me going. So I mean, you're definitely not going to sit around and do nothing. I mean, you guys should be happy about that, because you're going to learn, network with everyone in the bank, and ultimately build out your skill set, your toolkit, you know, so I think it's a great opportunity. And now my rotation's ending in about July, and I'm gonna stay with my team. So, I mean, I found a great fit, so it's going well.
Good to hear.
Yeah, anything, we wanna move on, or, okay. So I don't know if you wanna touch on diversity.
I do really want to touch on diversity, just very quickly. So we have programs almost at every level. For freshmen, you can check out Explore Your Future anytime. Freshmen again, it looks like we might have already filled a Modern Guild, but take a look at it, it should be up. And then 2020 Sophomore Springboard is another program for sophomores, but it looks like the application date has closed there. Inside Track. Inside Track is a program that we do, it's a little bit earlier, so we recruit for Inside Track a little bit earlier than we do the general population. And basically, Inside Track is focused on diversity candidates. So that includes females, LGBTQ, that includes, you know, we have a Black professional forum, an Asian professional forum, all of these affinity groups at Barclays. Basically what Inside Track does is it pulls you in for a day of programming where you're learning soft skills, basically things that you can apply directly to a Barclays interview process. And then the next day, we're interviewing you. If you perform well, like Ram did, you get an offer before the general population. So I want to say a large percentage of our overall diversity candidates came through this program. And by the time they were done, I only had 2 intern roles to fill from the general population. So it's a great program. Also, if you want to reach out to me about that, that's great too.
Well, you go ahead.
Alright, so is the Barclays Inside Track series, could that like help like your experience? Like, could you get experience like from that?
I'm not really familiar with you, I don't.
The experience that you get from it is basically just, you're really given, it's called soft skill training, but what it really is giving you the tools to successfully interview. And the reason, and Ram can speak to it, the reason I believe people tend to interview better after coming out of Inside Track is not because we're giving them any information that everybody doesn't already have, but in pulling them through it, and taking them through it the day before, all the nervousness is left at the door. We constantly, through the program, say, the most valuable thing you can do going into an interview at Barclays is to be authentic. That's our interviewers, that's the number one thing they're looking for. And that's what Inside Track does. It kind of just alleviates that nervousness for you. It kind of gives you that reality of an interview being a flat, it's a very symbiotic thing that's happening, right? Because that recruiter or that teammate wants to fill that seat as bad as you want to. So remember that no matter where you interview, there's a flat hierarchy in you. They need you as much as you want them. Do you want to cover citizenship, or do you want?
Yeah, I can do this. So, citizenship, this is kind of stewardship, right? Volunteering. Okay. So, kind of one unique thing about Barclays is that, I mean, I get these notifications all the time. They'll send out weekly updates for the Whippany campus, and there's volunteer opportunities all the time. I mean, people have gone to like pet shelters. There's been like river cleanups. I mean, there's been people that do mock interviews for less fortunate or less placed high school graduates and helping the community, but there's always a lot of opportunity to give back to the community. I mean, there's not one time where your manager will say, no, you can't do this. I mean, they encourage you to give back and network also with the internal company and then give back to the community. So it's one of the most unique aspects of a firm I've seen. I haven't seen this anywhere else. Usually there's not a lot of volunteering during work hours. They say do it afterwards, do it on your own time. But here it's encouraged and promoted.
built into the design of both the intern and the graduate programs.
Yep.
All right, great.
I think this is our last.
I think that's it. Again, thank you so much. We're going to open it up for questions. Anybody have any questions? We're good. Does Metro have any questions?
Yeah, actually I do have a question. How much room is there for travel for someone in the groups function?
That's a great
Like,
question.
do you stay like one area, or can you go other places through some kind of
Are you
either
talking?
trip or?
Why am I looking at the camera? Are you talking about? Are you talking about geography or division?
Like geography wise, is there any way that like you can travel to like either discover how different groups do things or how you can help certain customers?
So for the front office, I would imagine yes. But for functions, I don't think there's a lot of travel outside of the United States.
I would doubt anyone would be traveling outside.
It's more we are a UK. Look, we are headquartered in UK, right? So I mean, we're a fraction of Barclays.
Yeah.
I think you'll see more travel from that side of the pond coming here, but there's not a lot of it going from here to there or anybody else. I think though, as you progress in your career at Barclays, if you're in the States and you raise your hand, I believe they will work with you. But I don't think it as just BAU or business as usual, there's not a lot of travel within functions.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions? Any other comments? No.
So for those who don't know, what is the interview process like?
So, our postings for sophomores will go live probably in July. That's for 2021 programs. And what happens is you go online, you can apply to one role, you apply. You're immediately invited to take an online assessment. We call it Business Interview 1. And for operations, the entire evaluation process entails your online assessment, your initial, then on-demand interview, which is HireView. So I understand HireView can be awkward, but yes, we do HireView. And then after that, if you perform well, you're invited in for final round interviews, which is 2 40-minute interviews, a values interview, and a business interview.
It's like a case, a business case.
It's different than when you did.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah.
We did a case study. So.
Yeah.
Right, but, so anyway, through the entire evaluation, you're part of the same narrative. So from the very first evaluation you take online, you're put into the day in the life of an analyst in operations. You're put into a meeting, and that's all I'm going to tell you. But you're put into a situation. That situation follows you from that first assessment all the way through to your business study.
Oh, that's a lot different.
It's and we're not giving. We don't give the case study ahead of time anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's different too. I can tell you that I've gone through your process, and when we did this new evaluation process, I went through it as well. And it's actually fun. I'm an English literature major. I don't like finance. I don't like numbers. I'm not, but I love this evaluation because clearly it's pulling out your analytical ability in really creative ways. And there's no right answer, which I love too. So I hope that's.
Hi, I'm just trying to make sure I understand. The opening in the summer for sophomores means people who are going to be in August sophomores. Freshmen this year?
Sorry, no, great question. So the postings that are opening in July will be for 2022 graduates.
Okay.
So that you can come in for a 2021 internship. So you're interviewing for a 2021 internship or a spot within the grad program.
Yeah.
Okay,
As
so
a junior.
current sophomores.
Yeah. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a quick question over here.
I'm a junior in accounting and finance. I would love to get involved. What can I do? How should I start?
Great. So so what we're gonna do is, right now, we're out here raising brand awareness and talking to you all. We will be back in the, we'll reach back out in the fall, but what you can do is I'll give everyone my information, reach out to me, and then when the positions go live in July, I'll send you a link. One thing I also wanna mention, if you're interested in applying, once you decide you wanna apply, do it quickly.
Yes.
Because we must do applications on a rolling basis. What I mean when I say that is, you might see a posting deadline a month away from the posting or whatever it is. We do that because we have to. But if we were to sit and wait for that deadline, we would literally have thousands of applications to go through. And we'd get nothing done. So it's on a rolling basis. So I know for me, I'll start to look at those applications and I'll start pulling those people through the first 2 evaluations. And if they perform well, I'm gonna lock them down for a final round interview, probably before they get back to campus. So be quick about it. That's the first reason. The second reason is, you have 5 days, you have a 5-day window to complete the online assessment. It's not something you should stress or press about. But just be aware of it, because it's easy, particularly if you're gonna do it at the beginning of the year when you're starting classes. It's so easy for things to fall through the cracks. So just something else to be aware of.
Yeah, another piece of advice for the hire view, I would do research in advance to understand because the hire view is you're not interviewing, you're not interviewed by someone. So they're gonna give you a question and you're gonna have a video camera. And it's gonna do all this, like AI, so it looks at your posture, how many times you say your eye contact. You need to look this up in advance, like what this high view is, or you're gonna be freaked out. Like that's like I didn't understand it in the beginning. I'm saying you guys should research it so you know what it is in advance. It's called high view. That's what I did, and I was like, fine. It's just normal interview questions.
Everybody says that. Everybody says it freaked them out.
Yeah, but I'm just telling them in advance so that you understand.
Yeah. I think look.
It's common across every financial service company.
Well, but here's the difference, right, with us. Totally valid points.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get on HireVue or our vendor and see someone completely rehearsed. Where's the authenticity?
Oh yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I've chosen people who have their way through the entire thing because they were so authentic. People who stopped in the middle and said, I just totally screwed that up. Wait, I'm gonna start all over again. I love it because they're being who they are.
Agreed, yeah.
So don't totally.
Yeah, I agree,
but with
100%.
Barclays, it's not really something, don't stress about it too much. Just bring yourself, that's all, yeah.
Just understand what it is for you.
The technology.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you gotta understand that.
You're like, AI's watching every breath you take. We're checking your pulse even through the keyboard. Any other questions? Okay, unfortunately, I neglected to put my contact information on these slides, so let me give it to you now. It's Lisa, L-I-S-A, and if you lose it or whatever, Ram has it too. Gallagher, G-A-L-L-A-G-H-E-R, @barclays.com. And thank you so much for coming. It was nice to see you, to hear from you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Oh, that's not a whiteboard.
No, that's the whiteboard.
You can put it on the projector if you want.
That's going on YouTube.
It's freaking me out, the whole YouTube thing. If you find me on LinkedIn, feel free to connect with me, but just know I'm going to direct you back to this email address just because for risks and controls, all of our communication has to be on
I'll come on
Barclays.
with that too, so if you guys have questions, you can.
camera
email.
copy the whiteboard too?
It's pointing at it right now, yeah.
Professor Collier,
Yeah, it's good.
Yes?
is it possible to turn the camera around so we can see the whiteboard?
No, it's not, but I can email to, you know what, I'll text, Scott, is it okay if I text you, these two addresses now?